What is up, YouTube fam? So, it's been, well, not that long, but last week I had a pretty busy week, so didn't really have time to film much. And sorry if my focus is kind of like all over the place on this camera today. Something happened with the settings and I don't know how to fix it. But today I wanted to talk about something because in my DMs, on Instagram, everywhere, I'm seeing the term muscle building a lot more, and a lot of people talking about muscle building that maybe should know a little bit more before they talk about it. So I just really wanted to make a video to kind of clear up, like, I guess what it really takes to put on muscle, and just kind of go over some common mistakes that I see a lot of people doing when trying to put on muscle. So if I'm looking down, I have like a little list that I kind of want to hit on. I don't have an exact script for this. I just kind of wanted to talk to you guys. But basically what I get asked a lot is, you know, I want to tone up, I want to lose fat and build muscle. Or I see posts that are only focusing, you know, on eat to grow, which yes, is important for sure, and I will touch on that. But there's just a lot more to it that I kind of want to go over in this video because I just feel like it needs to be said. So, with that being said, let's get into this video. So, what I want to start with is basically saying that whenever it comes to setting goals, you have to realize where you are. So if you are a beginner, let's say, you're either a beginner in the sense of you actually are a beginner to working out, or you're just a beginner in the sense that you've kind of really not been trying for a while and you're really ready to start taking things seriously. Your diet hasn't really been on point. You've just been going to the gym, but like not really trying, that kind of thing. Beginner in those two senses, you can see some fat loss and muscle building benefits at the same time, because newbie gains are definitely real. So what really happens though with beginners is that we're going to get a lot of neurological adaptations to exercise. So a lot of the strength gains that beginners see at first are going to be more so neurological, memory-based strength gains rather than like the person actually putting on new muscle tissue. But this can result in more efficiency with movements because the nervous system is learning how to do them, which can then lead to like actual hypertrophy effects, things like that, to where we can see a beginner putting on some muscle while they're dropping fat at first, which is another reason maybe like the scale doesn't move right at first. So yes, beginner gains are definitely 100% real. But you also have to keep in mind, like if you're not a beginner, it is actually going to be pretty hard to put on new muscle tissue and lose body fat at the same time. Because whenever it comes to like body recomp, that's more of like a nutrient partitioning thing almost, to where like we're partitioning our nutrients more to be stored in muscle rather than to fat. Yes, we can see small increases in muscle, but whenever it comes to getting more advanced, you almost have to take in stages if you want to put on a significant amount of new muscle tissue. So with that being said, kind of to preface the video, you just have to realize what stage you're in and like be okay with that, because like I am more advanced at this point. So yes, I can make some small body comp changes while not pushing my food too far up and just really focusing on, you know, my training intent, my nutrition, things like that for body comp things. But if I actually want to put on new muscle tissue, I'm gonna have to push a little bit further, like with food, things like that, just because of the place that I am in. Whereas a beginner may not have to do that yet. So just wanted to throw that out there first, and then get into some common mistakes that I see. And I'm actually taking this kind of off of a blog post that I did. I'll link the blog post below so that you guys, if you want to read more after this video, kind of what I'm going over, you can check that out. But the first mistake is that I see a lot of people do is always training in the same rep range. So there's like this magic 8 to 12 hypertrophy rep range. And first of all, what you guys need to realize is that 8 to 12 hypertrophy is very subject to the person. So what might be, say 12 reps was a hypertrophy stimulus for me. For a very untrained, unconditioned individual, 12 reps might be more of like a metabolic stimulus than a hypertrophy stimulus. And on the other end of that spectrum, somebody who is extremely conditioned, 12 reps may actually be, or we can go like 8 to 12 reps may actually be more of a neurological adaptation than an actual like hypertrophy kind of adaptation. So that's one thing to keep in mind, is that 8 reps for me is going to be a different stimulus than 8 reps for you, just depending on where you're at. And then also with that 8 to 12 reps, let's just not even say 8 to 12 reps. Hypertrophy, whatever rep range is your hypertrophy, that's great and all, but we don't only want to train in a hypertrophy range, because that's going to be causing a lot of mechanical damage to the muscle, lots of like inflammation, things like that, which in certain stages obviously are good. Hypertrophy, that is when we actually put on the new muscle tissue, recruit new muscle fibers, all that good stuff. But we don't only want to stay there. We also want to get metabolic adaptations from like higher rep ranges, more creating a little bit more stress on the body, but we don't want to stay there either. We also want to be getting neurological and strength adaptations from like those lower rep ranges. So whenever I see people always doing 4 sets of 8 to 12, you are probably very adapted to that, and that's probably not going to be doing much for you anymore. So that's kind of the first mistake that I see. We want to be using a variety of rep ranges, creating a variety of stimuluses for like certain amounts of time so that we can continue to progress, rather than hitting one stimulus all the time and not really progressing at it anymore. So the second thing kind of goes along with this: you switch up your exercises too often. But this is more of a single exercise basis. So like you do squats this week and then deadlifts this week, and then you see a girl do this kind of lunge this week, so you throw that in. You're just always changing up your exercises. So what this is basically going to do is it's never going to let you actually progress, because like I said, at first with exercises, these strength gains that we're getting are more neurological. It's our body learning how to do those. So once our body has become more efficient at recruiting muscle fibers, things like that, for stronger contractions, that's when we can actually see more of the actual benefits of like gaining muscle, because we're able to actually execute those more efficiently. And if you are just constantly skipping around, you're basically just getting a bunch of neurological adaptations and not really any other benefits past that, because your body's constantly just having to learn. Like the term trick your body, like you don't really want to do that, because we want our bodies to get good in movements so that we can be efficient in those as we progress. So that's the second thing. Number 3 is that you aren't using the correct muscles. So I see this way too often, especially the more, and I was and still am guilty of this, still working on it myself, using the wrong muscles just completely in a workout. So you go to do a glute workout, and basically all that you work is your lower back, and maybe you hit a little bit of glutes. Or you go in to do triceps and you're literally using like all your scapula and none of your tricep, but you did a tricep movement, so therefore you think that you work triceps. I see this way too often. I did it for so long. Executing proper form is literally so key. Focusing on true mind-muscle connection and checking your ego and getting your form right before you're increasing weight, because the more that you increase weight with bad form, just the more imbalances and like susceptibility to injury and all that stuff is going to increase, which obviously is not helping you in your muscle building goals. So actually targeting the muscle that you want to target is huge. I'm going to save under eating for a little bit later, so you don't track your progress. Whenever it comes to putting on new muscle, we definitely want to be sure that we are progressing. So if you never really track what you did before and you don't really know how to progress, it's going to be really hard. So that's where, again, proper programming comes in, and not just constantly changing things around, but keeping tabs on what you're doing and how you're progressing so that you can make the necessary changes to actually like put on new muscle. Forgetting about the basics. So whenever you forget about your squats, your deadlifts, your barbell rows, your bench press, all those basic compound movements, and you focus on all these different Instagram videos and all these accessory exercises, sure, you're getting a little bit of muscle tension, but those basic exercises are going to be like the biggest bang for your buck, because you're working through multiple joints, you're working multiple tissues in your body, so you're just going to get a lot of just recruitment from that, which can obviously lead to more strength and muscle building benefits like over time. And then another thing with that is that whenever it comes to like those little single exercise movements, you can only put so much load on those, or those accessory movements, you can only put so much load on those. My camera focus is really making me mad. But whenever it comes to those compound movements, we can put a lot more load on those, therefore create more tension on the muscle tissue, which is what is ultimately going to lead to us creating more muscle tissue. So overtraining, not allowing for recovery, not getting enough sleep, all of those things are going to play a huge role in muscle building. So I'll just go ahead and throw the whole nutrition thing in this one too. So whenever it comes to putting on new muscle, your body has to have the fuel to do it. It's not just going to create literal new tissue out of thin air. So you have to be providing it the fuel that it needs, first of all, to create new muscle tissue. So that's where being in a caloric surplus comes into play. You do need that extra fuel. But on top of that, with that extra fuel, this is kind of the point I was making where a lot of people only focus on that. But what if your body can't utilize that fuel? Then it doesn't matter. So your body needs to be in a caloric surplus so that it has extra fuel to build new tissue, but it also needs to be able to utilize that fuel. And in order to do that, we need to be resting and recovering properly, managing our stress, all of that kind of stuff, because whenever we're stressed, our stress hormones like our cortisol and our catecholamines are going to be just constantly elevated. And basically that just sends a signal to the body that, listen, something's wrong, like in life. Like, it doesn't know that you're trying to put on muscle. It's just like, I'm stressed out, so I need to focus on staying alive right now. And creating muscle tissue is very expensive to the body because it requires so much energy. So your body's going to be like, why would I waste the energy to create this new tissue if I'm stressed and I just need to stay alive? So even if you do have the extra calories and you're in that surplus that you need, your body might not be in a place where it's going to use that to create new muscle tissue. That's why managing stress, managing our recovery, managing our sleep, those are all so key. As well as like whenever we're stressed out, our body, in the same sense, it basically is like, so if we think of it as like talking to the body, it's like, listen, I'm stressed out and we need these nutrients flowing to like certain places, only the places that need to be alive get all the nutrients. So that's gonna just like shut off the nutrients that are going to digestion and so many important things, because if we're not digesting our foods, we're not utilizing them like so much. So whenever it comes to muscle building, I think this is one of the most overlooked things is stress management. And ways that we can manage stress is getting enough sleep, getting good quality sleep to where we are getting that recovery overnight. We're releasing that growth hormone, getting those cortisol levels down, getting like good sleep, good recovery, utilizing some fat as fuel during sleep if we are like getting into good quality sleep, because our bodies don't like need the quick energy source while we're sleeping. All of that is going to play a huge role in our recovery. And then other ways of stress management obviously is like mentally just learning how to manage your stress better. I personally like to use Core 21 before bed. It's a natural cortisol reducer. It helps me a lot with like de-stressing at night and getting good sleep. CBD oil has been helpful for me. There's lots of ways. You just kind of have to figure it out for yourself. Like really prioritizing managing your stress and putting yourself first in that sense. And then again, with proper training programming, because exercise is also a stress, and while it can be a good stress, if we overdo it, it can be a bad stress, and you could be trying really hard in the gym, but taking it too far and actually kind of negating the fact that you're trying to put on muscle because your body isn't recovering and it's overstressed. And like I said, when we're overstressed, not going to be putting on muscle. You only lift lightweight, high rep, again with muscle tension. You can only get so much load that way. So you need to also be doing some lower rep, higher weight work to really get that tension on the muscle and really signal it like I'm trying to grow here, basically, if we're talking in very simple terms. And then one more thing is you rely on supplements. So you rely on, oh, I take a protein powder and I take a pre-workout and I take creatine, so I should be building muscle. Well, those are all just supplements. Yes, creatine, I highly recommend it for muscle building and just for anybody who's serious about their training. but it's not going to build the muscle for you. You still have to put in the effort. You still have to have the proper training. You still have to be prioritizing your sleep and your stress. You still have to be eating enough. You still have to be eating enough micronutrient dense foods to where you're like fueling cell metabolism, so that our bodies aren't getting overstressed in workouts. Like, there's so much that goes into muscle building, and that's basically kind of why I wanted to make this video. Like, you can't rely on taking a protein powder to build muscle. What if you eat 1,000 calories a day and you drink a protein shake? Cool. Well, your body still does not have enough fuel to build new tissue. So yes, I use supplements. I definitely think they can be beneficial to supplement what you're already doing, but you have to have all that other stuff in place. So really what I wanted to get at in this video is that it's a lot more than just being in a caloric surplus. We have to prioritize our mental health, our stress, our sleep, our micronutrient intake. We have to prioritize having proper programming. And you just have to, again, be aware of where you're at and be okay with the fact that you might need to focus on eating more. Maybe you'll have a little bit more body fat for a while. If you truly want to put on new tissue, whereas a beginner may be able to kind of do both at once. So realizing that as well. But yeah, that's kind of it. Obviously, that was like a lot of detail. I just want you guys to know it's not like just this simple go in the gym and lift and eat healthy and you're gonna put on muscle. Like, there is a science behind it. Like, that tissue has to be built somehow, and it's not just as, I guess it's just not as clear cut as eating more is what I want you guys to get out of this. It's programming, it's stress management, it's sleep, it's just intention and workouts. It's so much. So hopefully this helped you guys and kind of gave you more of an idea of, if you've been trying really hard to put on muscle and you aren't seeing results, maybe you listened to this and you were like, oh, I haven't been focusing on any of that other stuff. Hopefully this can help you kind of figure out. If you guys have any questions about like things that I said, feel free to comment below. Comment below if you enjoyed this style of video. I've just been seeing way too many posts from people who probably don't actually know the science behind muscle building, and they're literally just repeating captions that they've seen from other people, and it's kind of making me annoyed. So I wanted to make this video for you guys. But yeah, that's it. And let me know what other like video ideas that you guys have. I love hearing y'all's ideas, so that I can create more things for you. But I do have a couple good ideas coming up. I just like I said, been really busy, so getting the time to actually film them. But be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it, if you learned something here, and subscribe below to support my channel, so that I can keep creating content for you guys. And that is all. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.